Hello, good morning, good evening, good night, in whatever time zone you people are watching this video. In today's episode of Thinking the Unthinkable, we have got two guests. A panelist actually belongs to very strong academic background. They are school principals. They've been associated with school and education for quite some time. I would request my panelists to please introduce yourselves to the audience.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Nadia Mehmood Ahmed. Um, I have been working in the field of education for more than 16 years, and since 2007 I'm working in the capacity of principal, and the journey has been great in every way.
Okay, I am Naureen Mansoor, and I've been this profession since more than 20 years. And it's my luck, you say, that I serve in trust school basically. This is my third school which is related with any trust. And working in a trust school, I must say, the very different experience. We are not just giving them education, but there are some other part of helping the community as well, and I love to be in this type of school. Here, currently, I am in the school. It's about 5 years. In the previous school, I spent about 20 years there. Uh, that is from my side.
And that segment is actually school leadership in this COVID 19 pandemic situation. You both are school leaders. My question to both of you is how is this role challenging in today's time?
Um,
Nadia?
Honestly, when this struck us, I believe that we were not prepared. Although we all have been studying and debating about 21st century education leadership, and we were enrolled in probably courses where we were trying to equip ourselves. We wanted to be more computer savvy, but
Hmm.
still, when we were put into this practically, we were not prepared. So that
Mhm.
was the biggest challenge, to accept that the war is on. We have to
Hmm.
do what we have been talking about. And then once the realization came to ourselves, this was supposed to be translated and transmitted into our teams and people around
Hmm.
us. Being leaders, that was a challenge.
Hmm.
Management had their perspective, and teaching staff had, there was a huge confusion, which I personally felt. And somehow this has hindered and has delayed a lot. Um, as the time is progressing, I'm seeing people taking steps. There are some abrupt steps in terms of education, as I see, as I am coping up with this COVID-19 situation. And I have seen people, teachers, having this kind of anxiety where they want to do so much, yet they don't know what to do. Living in a society like Pakistan, where we have so little resources, because we have to look at the receiving end as well, our students. So I think this was not what we were prepared for. We were not prepared even for the life without pandemic. So this is something huge.
That in the beginning, it seems to be like a normal thing in the sense that nobody has any idea that how long it's going to be. So the beginning strategies was totally different. It seemed like, okay, it's about a week program, it's about a 15 days program, things will get normal and all that. And the very first thing was the safety of the staff, the safety of children. And at that moment, there was nothing, just the safety. So we just flow with the things. But later on, when it's about 15 days, the situations were totally different. and it's now we have to sit together, we have to see the things. There are a list of challenges you are asking, right from the management side is completely locking down a school is the very first thing in my 20 years of experience, that there is no activity in the school of any kind. It's not just the learning and teaching and all that. It's like journal cleaning. If I'm talking about, you know that about my school is a huge building, so that cleanliness, the staff, the safety, then comes to the some financial issues, then comes to the student engagement. Every day is like it's heavy heart for me how I'm going to engage my student, how I'm going to engage my teachers. What about their well-being? What about their safety? What about their the second thing before learning for me is the psychological effect the children are facing right now. Whatever they are perceiving from day and night news from the media, from their tabs, from whatever, that is a very, I must say, not a good effect on their mind. This for me, this should be the very first phase, very first challenge to check out. We have different resources to engage the student as well as the teachers, just to eliminate this situation, just to make it lighten. It's no doubt that it's not light at all, but we have to make it for at the student level. So we started a campaign on our Facebook and giving safety precautions and try to just engage a student in the beginning. And it's not the well-being of the student, the well-being of the teachers as well. And we have very limited resources, like and when we just hear news around us that that school is doing this, the other school is doing this, and then we see our situation, so we don't want to feel helpless, but we want to find our resources, and we did. And we did through WhatsApp. We engage the students. That is one part of the challenge. The second part comes to, as I told you, that's a trust school. We have to look our community as well. We have to look, we know there are so much deserving families, how we are going to help them. And then we just sit down and make a list to help those students. We did a lot of charity work. Even in the lockdown situation, we helped more than 150 families from our own platform of the schools. We engage the staff. If we feel, and I call the staff, okay, fine, it's a lockdown situation, but you are blessed that you are earning still, you are receiving the salary, but on the other side there are the family, those who are totally collapsed and they are jobless. So from the negative situation, we just want to produce something positive, and that positivity is to help others. And if you talk about
I think
challenges,
this
a
is
long
very
list
good. This
of.
is very good. Yeah, this is very good that you are taking care of the people whom you are working. You are taking care of teachers community, and you're not deducting the salary per se. Nadia, what is the situation in your context? How do teacher community look up to you as a leader? What are their challenges?
Actually, honestly, when this whole thing began, and we realized we means management, and we being the communicators of management, when the things were clear that okay, this is now how things are, this is not something temporary for a while, it is going to prolong. So it was, the biggest challenge was to motivate the teachers and to bring them to the state of mind, and that okay, this is not the vacation phase, and we need to work, and this the work needs to start today. So that was the biggest challenge. uh, it started when with communication, with understanding the role of us as teachers, why we opted for this profession, what are our responsibilities, and how, being a teacher, we are connected and we are motivated and dedicated towards our children who are at home. I used to go back and recall those forward messages regarding homeschooling, and I was going back and referring to all that literature which I've been reading about homeschooling, and kind of challenge I was facing as a mother. I started communicating that to my teachers that, see, being a professional myself, I'm struggling because my daughter craves for her teachers. She wants them to speak. She wants them to take over. She doesn't want to discontinue with them. So you are important to those who are sitting at home.
Mm-hmm.
Once this was realized, then
Mm-hmm.
it was important for me to provide them with the ways. If I'm telling them that you need to connect to your students, then, ma'am, we are not trained what to do, how to do it. We don't have internet. Sorry, we don't have electricity at that time. That was the biggest problem.
Mm-hmm.
And working, and they were in their
Oh,
homes with their families, looking after their own children, from where I had to pull them out and let them know that there is something bigger they have to work for. So that was the biggest, I think that was difficult. So providing them not only with the lecture, but the resources was something which I felt was my responsibility. And I've taken them with me. I've learned with them.
right. So we are talking about initially it was a vacation, but then post vacation things have been changed. We are
Yes.
trying to reach out to parents. We are trying to reach out to students to make them understand how to use this time effectively. And both the panelists have clearly shared that they've been using WhatsApp as the platform. Naureen spoke about Facebook as a platform. And yes, they are having difficulty. They don't have electricity, power cuts, basic necessity. They don't have internet and many facilities. My question to both the panelists is, how are we taking care of teachers' well-being at this point in time? Are they willing to teach or they are a bit tired? Naureen, I'll take this question from you first.
Okay, may I start that? Teachers' well-being, yes. Since day one, definitely each and every school they have a teacher WhatsApp group. After 2 3 days, I was just sitting and I realized how I engage. This is the best time for the teacher courses, teacher
Hmm.
developmental
Hmm.
courses. So how I'm going to do this? It's not possible that all I have a staff of 70 teachers that I engage and I have a Zoom meeting with them and online courses. So immediately I form a Facebook group by the name of SAT, and we started our own learning program over there. And I'm
Mhm.
really happy to see that teachers, they are taking a lot of interest in that Facebook separate teachers Facebook program, and they are sending different learning ideas. They are sharing ideas. We are talking about their English development classes are there. So teacher engagement is as important as student engagement. And from
Right.
teachers, if I see from teacher perspective, they are very much in the sense, they are very much stressed in the sense, definitely when they are in a teaching
Hmm.
profession, they are worried about their own children and about their student as well.
We are moving to the next segment, and that segment is actually school leadership in this COVID 19 pandemic situation. You both are school leaders. My question to both of you is, how is this role challenging in today's time?
Um,
Nadia?
Honestly, when this struck us, I believe that we were not prepared. Although we all have been studying and debating about 21st century education leadership, and we were enrolled in probably courses where we were trying to equip ourselves. We wanted to be more computer savvy, but
Hmm.
still, when we were put into this practically, we were not prepared. So that
Mhm.
was the biggest challenge, to accept that the war is on. We have to
Hmm.
do what we have been talking about. And then once the realization came to ourselves, this was supposed to be translated and transmitted into our teams and people around
Hmm.
us. Being leaders, that was a challenge.
Hmm.
Management had their perspective, and teaching staff had, there was a huge confusion which I personally felt, and somehow this has hindered and has delayed a lot. Um, as the time is progressing, I'm seeing people taking steps. There are some abrupt steps in terms of education, as I am coping up with this COVID-19 situation. And I have seen people, teachers, having this kind of anxiety where they want to do so much, yet they don't know what to do. Living in a society like Pakistan, where we have so little resources, because we have to look at the receiving end as well, our students. So I think this was not what we were prepared for. We were not prepared even for the life without pandemic. So this is something huge.
Uh, Nori, you were talking about that you are actually developing a program for teachers, those who could develop their skills with title set. Would you please describe that, what you've been doing it for them?
Uh, yes, just after this lockdown a week, it came into my mind to engage this teacher as well, because teacher motivation is more important than the student. And
Hmm.
we form a Facebook chat group. All my teachers are there, and in this group, from the management side, from my side, from other coordinators, we are including and introducing online courses, English development courses.
Hmm.
Then we are sharing different schools activities, how they are dealing with this lockdown situation. Then we are
Hmm.
engaging student on some hands-on materials to prepare at home with young materials like early years teachers and primary teachers, quizzes, general knowledge, puzzles. So it's a very good response from teacher side, and they are taking interest in this. They are also
Right.
sharing things, and it's like a sharing among the group and with the management. And the most amazing thing is that uh, each and every teacher has his own perception, but what I gained through this chat is how quick some of my teachers are in replying the answers, and what
Wow.
is their IQ level. That is a very clear picture which I got, and that is very good. There's a competition there, and now there are few teachers which I've seen that they are very much active, and their IQ level is very much high. This I learned
Mhm.
from this. Thank you.
Welcome. Nadia, how do you see your teacher community is dealing with this COVID pandemic situation? What is happening at your end?
See, when this began, where we asked the teachers to volunteer, because initially it was not at a huge level. So there was a small
Mm-hmm.
group which was engaged. So there was the
Mm-hmm.
volunteer group was already motivated and had that energy. But somehow I felt those who did not step forward, although they had talent, but they were waiting for it to end. So I found
Mm-hmm.
that bit demotivating for those who were working even harder. Later on, when they realized that this is going to prolong and they need to step forward, there were apprehensions. There were some reservations regarding how students will be responding, how the lesson will be taken. Parents' responses initially very negative, since they were connecting our efforts and our work with the upcoming holy month of Ramadan, the work stress, limited resources, everything. So there was more challenge than
Mm-hmm.
positivity. So teachers were carrying it with them. It did not
Mm-hmm.
help initially unless and until they started doing it practically, and the response they got, that was the biggest motivation. They saw how children were responding. Personally, I'm talking about like overall as an educationist, what I see around. There is we need to divide the students into groups, age wise, understanding
Mm-hmm.
wise. The children of
Mm-hmm.
pre-primary section or somehow lower grades of primary, there was a sense of fear, there was a sense of loss
Mm-hmm.
of school. So their way of connecting to the teachers and to the lessons was amazing. Like I felt warmth, I felt that emotional bonding, and their crave to learn. But there was
Okay.
then teenagers whom I felt that they took it very casually, because they were the ones who were most undecisive, because they didn't know what will happen to their examinations, about their promotions,
Mm-hmm.
still till the date.
Mm-hmm.
So that uncertainty has definitely affected them the most, and I feel that that has to be, there was a lot to be done there.
Nori, would you please share that how parents have viewed this situation, and what are the challenges parents facing at this point in time? Because children are at home, teachers and schools, they are trying their best to share whatever learning or the progressive activities they have to do it at home. What are the challenge parents are facing at this point in time where children have to do all the things at home?
Yes, from parent side, there are many challenges. Number one is definitely, as I told you, because I am repeating it again and again, that I belong to a trust school, a deprived one. So there are families living in one room, there are families living in joint family system, and there are families those who are mostly on daily wages. So they are struggling on many ends. They are doing that. No engagement of
Oh.
the student, as I told, that many of them are not even on the WhatsApp group. They are can't afford, they simply can't afford it all. They are
Mm.
jobless somehow. They came to us and asked for any help, and we did. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Secondly is about student work. So the time it was announced, the situation was very uncertain. It was just 4 days before our final examination. So the very
Okay.
first thing was the fear, the panic. What about their examination? What about their promotion? What about all that? We after 15 days, we just I call the coordinators meeting, and we come to a point that, okay, finally we have to now decide what to do. We are not supposed to hang on with this situation, and it's a stressful situation for the parents. At least they have a peace of mind. Okay, whether my child is promoted or not, should uh,
Mm.
uh, they start teaching them new course, or they just wind up the previous code? That was the main issue.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that
Mm-hmm.
in whatever the situation around, they just want their children to go to school. They are not very much interested in online and all these courses. The face to face education, the face to face interaction with the teacher is the most amazing thing. And now
Okay.
the when there is a always a line there that online teaching is the best one, and soon after a few years there will be no teachers. So it proved that this is a myth, and in any of the case this is not possible. Teacher is the
Okay.
only creature, I must say, that which can make anything possible in any of the situation. So now people at least realize that these online things are no more important. The person who's teaching in the class is the most important, the beautiful person of their life as a teacher. So here then we announce the policy on simple on the WhatsApp group, that these are the promoted one. Now they have to move this way, that is with the new course, with the new syllabus we share with them. They have already engaged with the new worksheet and all that. And those who are somehow didn't meet up, they have to be in the retest. So this is the syllabus for three major subjects. Now this is their track. There are two track for the promoted one, the second one for the retest one. So right now they are on the teacher are working on this, and the student are also working on it. So
Right.
it's a
I
peace
think
of mind
Naureen
for
and
the
her
parents.
team is quite fast forward because today Minister has already announced there will be promotion in all the classes regardless of whatever assessment has happened in the school. But two people have done it quite early. And yes, in the context where there is a trust school, but children don't have the accessibility to the basic necessity in terms of internet connectivity and the laptops and desktops, they really prefer the old method of teaching, and because they are not equipped with online program. Uh, Therefore, I think this situation is appropriate in your context, Noreen. But then coming back to Nadia's point of view, Nadia, how is your children and parent communities taking this online shift? Are they willing for this online program? Are they ready to let the children learn? Because we don't know when this COVID-19 is going to, I would say close down soon. Like we'll be able to see face to face. It would take a little longer. It would not be coming very nearly. So, what is your strategy as a school leader, and how you're going to go about
Honestly, the parents have been, there has been a lot of demand, and have been a lot of expectations from parents' end. They are willing to do and extend whatever resources they have towards their
it?
children and for their children.
Mm,
But
mm,
um, I would say that this is not the case of all the parents. Um, Reason is that there are more than one child in a house, and providing them all with these resources is a challenge in the situation where finance is an issue for parents. So this is
mm,
something which we come across. Parents approach us. We are
mm,
there. Limited staff is there in the office to facilitate the students and parents who have issues, technical issues. Secondly,
mhm,
is I believe that this also is connected to. I'm so sorry whether I don't know whether I'm supposed to talk about this or not, but since we are talking about the pandemic has also affected the fee structures. And this is
yes.
something which a parent is looking forward to, whether if I'm paying now, am I getting what I'm paying for?
Mhm,
This is something,
right.
although earlier it was not that when they were going through summer vacations, but now
Mm,
they want
mm,
to have something more fulfilling. So that is there, that has increased the demand. Another thing Miss Noreen has pointed out, I want to highlight that schools and parents are looking at one another, what others are getting, what's in their
mm,
plate.
mhm,
This is another issue which is causing
right.
trouble, anxiety.
Right. So you're talking about the schools and then their strategies. Parents are seeing it as a competition that what one school is doing
Yes.
it, what the other school is doing it, and that is creating a lot of uncertainty and a lot of anxiety for school leadership as well as teachers and parents. And yes, because parents are investing a lot of money in terms of whatever subsidy or fee they've been giving, they really want the outcome in their hands. My next question would be, how do we see schools transition post COVID-19? Will it remain same? Will we go back to zero the way we were? Or will there be any change in teaching and learning process? Nori?
Yes. Being a leader, we have to foresee things. We should move with plan A. We should move with plan B. So we also have some plans. Like I said, the very first that we just promoted the student, because what I've been foreseeing that in later or sooner we have to do this. And now we are right now we are in a position that okay, these are promoted and these are those who have to appear in the retest. Now what would be the second thing? I had a meeting with all my coordinators and I make them clear that this year the situation is not going to be ideal, that all are sitting in the class with brand new uniform, having brand new things and books and copies and all that, and you just come and start with the lesson. No, the very first thing that the teacher should mentally prepare and should have a mindset right now, that the situation throughout the year, not for the 1 month, not for the 2 months, throughout there is not supposed to be ideal one. Just be prepared that in my class there will be students those who have nothing, no book, no copy. There will be some student having some books, there will be some student having just copies. So what would their aim to be? Their aim is to be just check out copies or things, or just carry on or move on with the situation, and and not the teacher, they have to pull back their student as well. It's okay if you don't have copy, if it's okay if you don't have book. The main thing is the learning, and that learning, again I must say, it is from chalk and with the board, and the refreshing of the mind with the activities. It's not the academic learning. It should be something that the teacher has to play a psychological a psychologist role over here, that whatever they have been facing since the months, they have to bring the student back to their life with activities, with the exercises, with the class activities, with more and
Thank
more
you. Thank you,
interaction and
Naureen.
oral
Thank you.
things. Thank you.
Yes. No, Nadia, your take on this question, that what would be a situation of teaching and learning post COVID-19? How would you see that?
Um, the path which we have chosen, like online teaching, we have taken it up now officially in every way. This cannot be discontinued now. It has to be become and made the regular feature of our teaching in the coming years, because if we are dealing with this now, we need to understand that the teaching will now be in both modes. Probably the one interaction with students won't be that possible, so we need to
Hmm.
go into the online teaching. But yes, this was a state of emergency. In the long run, we need to train parents and students for what we have for them. Until and unless
Hmm.
we go for their training, not we shouldn't be expecting them to, because right now, as Noreen was also sharing it, there have been assessments and plans for the students who haven't been performing well. But
Right.
overall, collectively, our school is we are talking about it, the entire population of the school. The planning, the strategy has to be more advanced, and it requires a lot of training for parents and students both.
Right. Thank you very much for your time. I think today we got a chance to review what school has been doing, what is the role of school leadership at this point in time during pandemic and post pandemic. I think post COVID-19, there will be a crucial role because we are expecting a lot of changes in our teaching and learning uh, processes, the way our teachers will conduct the programs and learning that will take place. And I think it would be, I would say, face to face as well as online, because this point in time, whatever children have learned, they will not be settled in the same traditional face-to-face classroom, because then they'll challenge the new environment and intellectual environment to be provided to them, because this would be the demand and the new strategy for future. Thank you very much for your time. We thoroughly enjoyed your talk, and inshallah we'll see other people in the next episode, and we will perhaps invite you to also join us. Thank you very much.